I'm Brendan Moran, and today I am going to get a tour of one of Walnut Creek's most beautiful places, the gardens at Heather Farm. I'm here with Maria Valken. She is the executive director at the gardens at Heather Farm, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what goes on here. You guys are a nonprofit, so you're self-sustaining here, right?
Right. We are. We're entirely self-sustaining. We do get a little bit of support from the city, but primarily the vast majority of the funds that are required to maintain the garden, to operate the education program, and to maintain the building is obtained through a combination of donations. We have a membership, and we do some fundraising, of course, and we have a bit of money that we get through grants. But it's all up to us to raise the money to keep it all happening with a very small staff and hundreds of volunteers. We could not do what we do without our volunteers. They're the heart and soul of the organization.
Well, if somebody's watching this and they want to get involved, volunteer, what do they do?
I think probably the best bet is to go to our website and get all the information they need about the different volunteer opportunities that exist.
And you're always looking for good people?
Always looking for more good people, absolutely. Yep.
Sounds great. We'll spread the word.
All right, thanks so
Maria.
much. I appreciate it.
Okay. I'm here with Patrice Hanlon. She is the garden director at the Gardens of Heather Farms. And today we're in a sensory garden, right?
We are.
What is that?
The Sensory Garden was created in 1988 with the efforts of the volunteers and the Lions Club. And it was designed for those that are visually impaired. You can get around the entire garden if you are on a wheelchair and walker. It also is at a height where you can get in and garden. So if you had problems with your back or you couldn't bend over, was built with the intention of therapeutic purposes. There's a fountain in the back. If you listen quietly, the water is to draw you back into the garden. So if you had problems seeing, you would be able to still keep going into the garden. We work with students that are from preschool through kindergarten, usually for the tours that we have in here. And we do about 15,000 school children a year at the Gardens at Heather Farm. So it's just a fabulous little spot right in the center of the gardens, of our 6-acre site.
Now, I am not an expert here, so you're going to have to tell me, what other plants am I looking at here?
So the beauty of this garden is that all of the plants that are in here are conducive to a Mediterranean dry climate, which is what we are. But at the same time, we have plants that are just fabulously fragrant, such as the pineapple sage.
Oh yeah, what's that going to smell like? Can I take a guess?
Take a guess. Smell like pineapple?
Smells like pineapple. It really does.
It does. It does smell like pineapple. So we have not only plants that are fragrant, but behind you here, we have the lamb's ear, which is always a popular plant with everybody. Look at how soft.
Oh, wow.
It's lovely.
So, you know what it's like?
What?
It's like a lamb's ear. Yeah.
It's like a lamb's ear. But for me, when I'm teaching about horticulture, is a plant that shows that it doesn't need a lot of water. And that's because it's white and it's hairy and it reflects the sunlight. So that is our mission, is to teach about sustainable gardening practices, green practices, low water, how people can do that in their home gardens. We're a demonstration site for that.
You do a lot of organic gardening.
Including our rose garden. Would you like to go look at it?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
All right, you lead.
So here we are in the middle of our rose garden, and the garden was designed for different types of roses. So what you're looking at here are called floribunda roses, and they're grown in a cluster, all these little flowers together. This particular one is called Sexy Rexy, named after Rex Harrison. So a lot of the roses—
The Broadway star.
The Broadway star, so good, My Fair Lady.
Yeah.
But we have Barbara Streisand. We have all kinds of different roses named after different people. And in the center of the garden, we have hybrid teas. So they're a completely different type of rose. Being organic helps us in that this garden is completely manicured.
So when people say garden organically, what does that mean?
Okay, for this particular garden, the rose garden, the way we manage it is that we're not putting chemical fertilizers onto the roses. We're actually feeding the soil. So if you have really healthy soil, you will actually create a really healthy root system which will intake water and nutrients from the soil a whole lot better. So for the past 13 years, we haven't used anything on the roses, and we have this incredible space. We also have a great habitat for the birds, because if you're spraying pesticides, there's no insects. So we have this wonderful bird habitat on top of the fact that we have these beautiful roses.
It's good thinking.
It is. And the city of Walnut Creek, actually, this park is in the process of being Audubon certified. So it's just, the city works with us, and it's a perfect relationship because we're creating a really beautiful, healthy site for families to come and visit.
And people can get a lot of ideas, and not just the rose garden as well, right? There's another area.
We have all kinds of it. So we already saw the sensory garden.
Yeah.
I'd like to take you up to our shade garden.
I'm game.
Beautiful.
Let's
All
go.
right, let's go.
All right. Okay, so we're in the shade garden.
We are.
Nice and cool in here.
Favorite spot in the summertime for most people because we have about 5 or 6 benches in here. I wanted to bring you to this garden because when we developed the garden behind us, the shade and stroll garden, it used to look like that down there, which was all weedy. And because of our sustainable practices, we started mulching in here and working the soil so that when we actually planted in here, we didn't do anything. We brought no soil in, we just planted directly into it. So that's part of our sustainable practices, working with what we have and enriching the soil. So if you look around at how lush this garden is, it's also considered a dry shade garden. Again, it looks very lush, but it's on very low water. So that's part of what we're trying to educate people about at the gardens, so that they can have beautiful, lush plantings without necessarily using a lot of water.
That sounds great for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when my water bill comes every month.
And you could come and take classes here and learn about it.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me
do.
about those.
We have an adult education program that usually on Saturday mornings, there's different classes that we try to use the garden as much as possible. We look at ourselves as a teaching classroom. So we have 24 different areas that we can teach people about, things that go on. So we usually run a class in the spring, or what to grow in dry shade, or what can grow under oaks. So we have a lot of different classes that could entice people to come in and learn what they could do.
Patrice, thank you very much. Very educational. And when I show up for the class, go easy on me. Beginner.
We have lots of beginners.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I had a great time and I learned a lot too. Now remember, visiting the gardens at Heather Farm is free. So if you want to learn more about how to get involved or even take a class, go to their website. It's gardenshf.org.